Hey everybody, good morning, Simple Church. We want to start off the announcements today by taking a moment to remember those who were lost in a senseless act of violence this weekend in Las Vegas. So we'd like to just take a moment to think of those people who were injured and those lives that were lost, pray for their families, and think about their loved ones. All right, one event that we love being a part of here at the Simple Church is the Boo at the Boardwalk. So we need you to bring individually wrapped candy back to church next Sunday and drop it off at the Go Local tent. This is a great way to give back to the kids and families in our community and have fun on Halloween. Last week, we informed you about the items being collected for Puerto Rico in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria. You can still pick up these items listed on the screen in your bulletin and drop them off at the Salvation Army drop-off on Stoner Avenue.
In Simple Kids this month, we're talking about stewardship and how everything we have belongs to God. We've asked our kids to go through their personal books, find gently used books or new books that they would like to donate to kids in need. We would love to collect 400 books and send one home with each child at Central Park Elementary School. Help us collect these books. Bring them to Simple Kids any Sunday in October. Thank you so much for helping your kids do good.
Okay, those are the announcements for today. If it's your first time here at Simple Church, welcome. We hope you continue to enjoy our new series, Stranger Things.
That's right, Christy. We are continuing Stranger Things today, and this next song is going to continue along with that theme, so sit back and enjoy. What's that clown over there?
Good morning, Simple Church. Yeah, see a little energy out there. There is superstition, see the writings on the wall. There is superstition, see the ladder's about to fall. The 13-month-old baby who broke the looking line. 7 years of bad love, so the good things in your hand. Can you believe in things that you don't understand? Then you suffer superstition and the wind. Yeah. There is superstition. Wash your face and hands. Rid me of the problem. Do all that you can. It can be in a daydream. When you believe in things that you don't understand, and you suffer superstition in the way. Yeah. There is superstition. The devil's on his way. 13-month-old baby, till we broke the looking glass. 7 years of bad luck. To the good things in your life. When you believe in things that you don't understand, then you suffer superstition in the way. Yeah, yeah. No, 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 no.
Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed that last song, and as you know, today we are continuing our Stranger Things series, and of course we had to have fun and put our little spin on it, so today we are premiering the first episode of our own Stranger Things, so sit back and enjoy. Okay guys, usually we get together, we're going over some music stuff, practicing some songs, but not tonight. Tonight, Dungeons and Dragons.
Are you crazy, Johnny? We can't play Dungeons and Dragons, it's demonic!
Gray, don't be such a wuss.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, you guys. We cannot play this game. My mom will ground me forever. Forever. But I brought Monopoly. We can play that. I knew you were gonna cheat.
I did not!
You always cheat.
You said, I told you, I landed on Marvin's Gardens.
You guys saw him a minute ago. He went past go and he didn't even go to jail. He was supposed to go to jail.
This is the dumbest, the longest, and the most whitest game I've ever played. I'm out.
I'm out too.
I knew we should have played Dungeons and Dragons.
I think there's something wrong with your dog. Ate one of my game pieces. You owe me some money.
All right, I'm out.
Cheater!
I saw it happen.
Huh?
I know you didn't cheat.
Yeah, you did!
Hey guys, wait up!
Next time, we're playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Night, ladies.
Hey, Larry, kiss your sister for me. Well, you ready?
Yeah. Hey,
Hey,
first one to your house gets pick of any comic.
any comment?
Yep.
Hey, you didn't say go. Wait up.
let it go. Don't be a cheater like Gray.
I'll take your X-Men 170.
Son of a nutcracker.
All right. Good morning. Hey, I know that you're going to want to come back next week and see episode 2. Will Johnny get out of the shed? But you also want to come back and see Justin because he's not here today. So just remember to do this. He is leading the trip, our mission team to Haiti. We've got a picture of the team here. So as you think about it during the week, if you're traveling around or you hear something about Haiti or it just comes to mind, pray for these guys. Pray that God will just use them in an incredible way. And I know they're going to come back and give us information, tell us stories about how that happened and how that went down. So we're excited about that and excited to be a part of a church that does that, man, that does go and help solve problems in the world and locally and internationally and globally. So we're excited about that. And thank you so much and for remembering them and for praying for them. We are continuing Stranger Things passage series. And I know last week you were just blessed with some of the little known passages of the Bible, passages that make you want to say, was that really even in there? And just to get things started off this morning, I want to share one that I would probably guess if you grew up in church and went to Sunday school and remember that, I would be willing to bet that you never heard a Bible story like this one. But it's in there. Check it out.
Ehud made him a dagger which had 2 edges of a cubit length, and he did gird it upon his raiment upon his right thigh. And he brought the present unto Eglon king of Moab, and Eglon was a very fat man. And Ehud came unto him, and he was sitting in a summer parlor, which he had for himself alone. And Ehud said, I have a message from God unto thee. And he arose out of his seat, and Ehud put forth his left hand, and took the dagger from his right thigh, and thrust it into his belly. And the haft also went in after the blade, and the fat closed upon the blade, so that he could not draw the dagger out of his belly, and the dirt came out. Judges chapter 3, verses 16 to 17, and 23 to 26.
Got any takers? Anybody? Oh, yeah. But seriously, though, we know there are stories like that in the Bible, believe it or not. And so I just encourage you to dig into it and start reading and see what you can find out. But we also know this. We also know that as a result of what's going to go on through the rest of this month with our Stranger Things series, and as we get into it, especially next week, and begin to talk about maybe some issues that are more personal to us and closer to home that maybe we've even experienced, is that you're going to come up with questions. And there's going to be times maybe that you think, man, I wonder, you just don't get it. Or maybe you just think, you know what, I really need help in my life, and you're kind of right on the edge. Well, I want you to know this. So we know that, and we're aware of that, and there's a reason that we provide a list of counselors, a list of therapists, mental health counselors that you can visit with. And we have an opportunity right now. I want you to check out this video and hear one from Clint Davis Counseling, which is actually my wife Perry is one of the therapists there as well. But listen to Clint as he talks about counseling and why we need it.
So I'm Clint Davis. I work with Purchase Not for Sale. We have an organization that helps with human trafficking, and then we have a private practice counseling center that serves Bossier and Shreveport. A non-biased opinion, having somebody who is professionally trained in trauma and family history and systems theory, and being able to work with families and see people as not just individuals who have their singular story, but that fit in a greater story, and being able to hear those stories from a non-biased view is really important. And so as much as we love our spouses and we love our friends and our parents, sometimes we don't receive the advice or the counsel well because we think it has some kind of judgment or bias, or they have to carry our weight. And my belief, every family that gets healing and health and every individual that gets healing and health means that's one less person hurting my family members, one more person helping my family members and my community. And if we help our spheres of influence, then that helps, and it's just discipleship making to some degree. All of us need work. I tell everybody, I still go to therapy twice a month and continue to do my own work. And I think as Christians, part of that is lifelong. It's that sanctification process of trying to be closer to Jesus, trying to recognize that His grace covers all things. And so if they're on that edge going, I need help, there's help available.
And we have that help available for you. And if you want to check that out, you can go to our website. If you go to our website, go to the resources tab. And once you hit that tab, go down to the Simply Grow. And once you get there, you can see that sheet will come up, and about halfway down that sheet, we have a list of preferred counselors. And these are people that we are cooperating with, people that some are come to our church, the aldermans. Many of you know Laura and Kevin do a fantastic job counseling and providing help there, as well as Clint Davis Counseling and some others in the area. And so that, because not everybody fits into everybody else's schedule, and we want you to be aware that that's there and available. So please go to our website, check that out on the preferred counselors list under the resource tab, and simply grow. In addition to that, we also know that we can't make it alone as well, and we need groups to help us through that. So that's why we also do life groups. And life groups are important because they help us. We've said this before. We really believe life change happens best in small groups. And so we want you to understand there are life groups that are available, and there are some that are specialized. The issues that come up, we have an abortion recovery group, we have a men's group on sexual integrity at a meeting, many that deal with addictions, divorce care, single parent families, single moms, all of those groups that are there. And again, you can go to our website and check it out, because it's important that you do that and that you plug in. And God bless you and have a great day. No, just kidding. We're going to jump in. We're going to jump into the passage today, and today our Stranger Things passage is really not one that's that weird, maybe. And matter of fact, most of you, as we begin to go through it, could probably finish the story for me, and you'll be able to understand that and be able to follow it along. But I want you to understand the stranger thing behind this is the response of the players in the story. And so I want you to see that. But it all starts with this. A group of people had come around Jesus, and Jesus began this. And it says, the passage simply says this: to illustrate the point further, Jesus told them this story. And you're going, well, what's the point? And I'm like, thanks for asking. Glad you asked. Here's what the point is. Jesus had all the his followers, his disciples, other people that were gathering around him and hanging out with him. There was another group that was always kind of there, and they were watching and seeing what was going on, and they were called Pharisees. They were the religious people. They were the churchy people. They were the ones that wanted to make sure that it was just, it's this way, my way or the highway. You got to do it like this. And matter of fact, the passage says in Luke, that's in the New Testament, the first 4 books of the New Testament we call the Gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Luke was kind of the detail guy. He was the doctor. He was the one that wrote down every little detail, and thank goodness doctors know details, right? Amen. So he went through all the details, and he said that Jesus told him a story. And he started out, actually told him 3 stories. The first one was about a lost sheep. There was a shepherd that said had 100 sheep. One of them was lost, so he left the 99 and he took off and went after the one lost sheep. At which point many of us would say, dude, he's got 99. What's the deal with losing one? But those that listened to the story then, during that time, as they heard Jesus tell the story, they understood what it meant to be a shepherd. And I'm sure they shook their head and said, that's right. You're going to go after that one. The second story he told was about a lost coin. Woman had 10 coins. She loses one of them. She tears her house apart looking for that one lost coin. And she finds it. She hollers at her neighbor, and they celebrate because they found that one coin. And at which point most of us go, well, yeah, that's true. So what does that have to do with that? Because here's what we know. We know that the value of something that we lose, we go to greater lengths to find it. The more valuable the item, we go to greater lengths to find it. Anybody here ever lost a child before? I mean, not through death, but just losing a child out and about. We went to Dollywood one time when our kids were young. Anybody ever been to Dollywood here? Okay, there's 4 of you. Hey, we're getting better. I think the first service are like, what are you talking about? Yeah, this is Dollywood. Simply Dolly Parton Dollywood. If you've never been before, think about it this way. Think Six Flags marries Hee Haw. They have a child. Dollywood. Yeah, it's homespun fun. And I remember we went, and my kids were probably about, I think they were, at that time, that we just had 3 of them. And if I remember right, they were like 5, 3, and 1, or 2, 4, 6, some in that age. But my son, the middle one, the whole plan was he was going with his grandparents to check out a certain part. Matter of fact, I got a picture of the crowd that day. Yeah, it was something kind of like this. As I remember it, there was a lot of people there. There was a bucket load of people there. And so my son was supposed to be with them. I remember coming around a corner, going into the little country store, one of 6,000 country stores at Dollywood. Remember, Hee Haw meets Six Flags, okay? So I walk in there and I was like, where's Thomas? And she looks at me and goes, I thought he was with you. And if you've been a parent before, or as a parent, you've ever experienced that, you know it goes from about down here to right here really fast. And so I immediately spun around and I go out into this crowd and I'm starting to ask people if they've seen my son. I'm describing him to him. Okay, keep in mind this is early 90s, so it was all cool to have your 3-year-old son with a mullet, you know. Don't laugh at it. You did it to your own kids too. You know what I'm talking about. And so I'm describing what he looked like. He had on an orange tank top and shorts and red Nike tennis shoes and all this kind of stuff. And it goes immediately from that, have you seen him, to me just hollering at the top of my lungs, Thomas! And I'm trying to find him wherever I can. And for whatever reason, and I think it was a God thing, the crowd kind of spread out a little bit, and I could see about 100 yards away from me that there he was, and he was getting ready to turn a corner and go to a whole other area of the park. And I did my fastest Usain Bolt that I could do, dude. I just took out running and was able to catch him and grab him and bring him back before. Because I knew this. I knew that the value of his life, what that meant to us. And the greater the value, the more you'll go at lengths to save it. And I wanted to do that. And so I understood what it meant to lose something. So when Jesus had that crowd there and he began to speak to them and tell them why exactly it was important for him to hang out with the people that he hung out with, he began the 3rd story. And it started like this. A man had 2 sons. The younger son told his father, I want a share of your estate now before you die. Now you got to understand this. I mean, the rebellious son was there, and he's kind of like, Dad, look, I understand that when you die that I get my inheritance then, but look, Dad, you're looking pretty good right now. Look, you're looking healthy and stuff. But I tell you what, why don't you just go ahead and give me my part now? Can I just give mine now? Can I have it? I mean, I understand. I know you and Mom are clicking along, but look, what if y'all just sell the house, rent a little something else, and give me mine now? Because basically, Dad, I want you to know you're dead to me. And you begin to go, well, what's the deal? And you understand what the Father understood, that even though the Son was there, he wasn't there. Have you ever been down that road? You ever experienced that in a relationship? That you know, man, even though we're under the same roof, we're still just by ourselves. That you can sit in a room this size, crowded full of people, and feel like the loneliest person around. Because he understood the reality of this. That even though the Son was there, he never took off his headphones, he never talked at the dinner table, because the Son was disconnected. And here's the stranger thing that happens. Jesus goes on and he says this, so his father agreed to divide his wealth between his sons. At which point, everybody in the group, either thinking it or said it out loud, said, that dad is a fool. Why would he do that? What is the deal with a dad that would sell everything he's got and give his son half of what's left? But he understood this. Jesus understood this. That the Father loved the Son so much. He loved him more than his own reputation. He didn't care what went on around him. He didn't care what other people thought. What he understood was this. I have a son, and I want him back so much that I'm willing to lose him. The passage goes on. You know how the story goes. A few days later, the younger son packed up his belongings, moved to a distant land, and there he wasted his money on wild living. You've heard the story before. I mean, he goes, gets his money, says, all right, later, Dad, leaves out the front door, heads down the road, and we don't know how long he's there, but it just says that he wasted all he had on wild living. Went in, bought him a condo, went and got him the pimpinest looking camel a dude could ride, and he's just living the life. And you know how the story goes, because he lived that life. We don't know how long he lived it, but eventually the money ran out and so did the friends. You feeling me? You know what I'm saying? Because some of us have been there. We've been the end kind of thing, and then when it all dries up, it's deuces. We're out of here. And you know how the story goes. You know that the son ends up losing everything he's got. And he ends up in a pig pen, taking care of pigs, and eating leftover pig food. And he's overwhelmed with the realization that he's disconnected. And Jesus goes on in the story, he said when he finally came to his senses, he said to himself, you know what? Even the hired servants have enough food to spare. And I'm sitting here dying of hunger. He said, God, you know what? I mean, even the slaves at my dad's house, they got food to eat, and I got nothing. And he came to the realization of this, that he missed home, but he wondered if home missed him. And at that time, people in Jesus' audience are a lot like me, and a lot like you, and you, and you. And began to wonder, you know what? I'm a long way off. I don't know if God will ever have me back. You know what? I really don't measure up. There is no way. You don't understand what I've been through. You don't understand the life that I've lived. You don't understand how hard I rode it. And man, you got to understand there's no way that God will take me back. And I know that God misses me because I hear you say that up there, but I'm really wondering, I know I miss God, but does God really miss me? Does God know what my address is? But he got his speech down. So he figured it out. You know what? He came to his senses. The story goes on. He said this, I'm going to go to my father, and this is what I'm going to say to him. I'm going to say, Father, I've sinned against both heaven and you. Father, I've sinned against both God and you. And look, I'm not worthy to be called your son anymore, but could you please just take me on as a hired servant? I know what I've done has kind of probably kicked me out of the family. But God, at least can I live in the slave quarters? Can I just do that? And so he's memorized this passage and he's done it. And I'm sure he starts home, and he starts headed back towards home, and he's walking down the road, he's saying, I'm going to say to my father, God, I've sinned against you and heaven. I'm not worthy to be a son. Make me a hired slave. God, I've sinned against you, and he memorizes it. And Jesus breaks in to the story, and he says this, so he returned home to his father. And while he was a long way off, his father saw him coming. Now think about that. While he was a long way off, the father saw him coming. Why? How did that happen? What do you think happened? Let me tell you what happened. I think here's what happened. And if you've been a parent of a child that's gone off the deep end, that's gone awry, you maybe understand this or maybe you don't. But every day that father would get up, and he may go and sit on that porch, or he may just open up the door and look out and see that road that the son left on, hoping that one day, trusting that one day, my son's going to come back. And Jesus said that while he was a long way off, he saw the son coming. And then the next words of the passage says this, filled with blank. Now, what you put in the blank is going to determine how you view God. What comes next will determine what you feel like God's relationship with you and I really should be. Filled with anger, filled with disgust. Oh, I can't believe you did that. Filled with disappointment. Filled with, I told you so. I told you go out and do that. And look, you should have been listening to me the whole time. There's your problem right there. But Jesus throws them all off, and he says this, filled with love and compassion. Filled with love and compassion. He ran. He took off running. The dad did. Y'all ever seen an old man run? It's kind of crazy. Sometimes there's some things you can't unsee. But he grabbed that, I'm sure he had that robe on, he grabbed that joker up, tucked it in the front, and he took off. And it said that he ran to his son, and he embraced him. He just grabbed him and held on to him. At which point we want to call time out and go, why didn't he do that to begin with? Like when the son came and said, Dad, I'm out of here, and he gets ready to go, why didn't the dad just grab him and say, you're not going, you're going to stay here? Why did he just do that? Because here's why. Because the dad wasn't interested in GPS coordinates of where's your son. There is no doubt in my mind that he knew where his son was. And I'm sure he'd be in town and there'd be somebody come up and say, hey, dude, I saw your son. Are you aware of what he's doing? And can you believe? He wasn't wanting GPS coordinates. He was wanting to reconnect with his son. He was wanting a relationship with his son. And so he ran, he embraced him, and he kissed him. How about that kiss? What had he been doing? What had the son been doing? Living with pigs. That's right. And he got a big old pig kiss. I'm not talking county fair pig kiss. I'm talking about dirty, nasty, roll in the mud, stanky stuff. And because the Father loved the Son more than his own reputation, he gave him a kiss. And he said this to him. He told his servants, he said, quick, go quick now, bring the finest robe in the house and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. And kill that calf, that one we've been waiting for the big party. The party's fixing to happen right now. You go kill the calf. We must celebrate with a feast. For this son of mine was here, and now he's here. This son of mine was dead, and you'd go, well, no, he wasn't dead. He was just out partying up. No. I'm speaking figuratively, but I'm telling you this. He was dead, and now he's alive. He was lost, but now he's found. And he's not a slave, he's my son. And he welcomed him in with open arms. And he put a robe on his back and a ring on his finger as a symbol that you're my son. And I'm going to treat you just like you never left. And rather than sitting back and thinking, man, if that was my son, I'd have whooped him. If that was my son, I'd have done this. You understand the incredible length of love that God has for us and the forgiveness that he provides us so that we can be welcomed home again. I want y'all to check out this video, and then I'll be back to wrap it up.
formed in his reflection. We are his glory on display. And his heart is good, he's always kind. With the cross he proved he's on our side. We are the sons, we are the daughters of God. No matter where we go, we're close to the Father's heart. And though we stumble, he will not let us fall. 'Cause we are the Lord's and he will never forsake his own. We are the sons, we are the daughters of God. The love he lavished on us, he called us children of the King. And in his loving kindness, he chose the lonely and the weak. And his heart is good, he's always kind. With the cross he proved he's on our side. We are the sons, we are the daughters of God. No matter where we go, there's hope in the Father's heart. And though we stumble, he will not let us fall. 'Cause we are the Lord's and he will never forsake his own. We are the sons, we are the daughters of God. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. So when the lies speak louder than the truth, remind me that I belong to you. And when I can't see past the dark of night, remind me you're always by my side. And when the lies speak louder than the truth, remind me that I belong to you. And when I can't see past the dark of night, remind me you're always by my side. You're by my side. We are the sons, we are the daughters of God. No matter where we go, we're close to the Father's heart. And though we stumble, he will not let us fall. We are the Lord's and he will never forsake his own. We are the sons, we are the daughters of God. Yes, we are. Yes, we
Thanks, Annie and band. I love that one line that says this. It says, when the lies speak louder than the truth. And we live in a culture, we live in a society where the lies seem to speak louder than the truth. And we only have to turn on the TV and hear the pundits arguing about where things are going on and why things are happening, and we only need to flip onto the channel to see more and more reasons and how it's all going to hell in a handbasket and all this kind of stuff. And the reality is this, is when the lies speak louder than the truth, we need to be reminded. You need to be reminded. I need to be reminded. I belong to God. So how do we get back home? Real quick, two things. First, we've got to realize where you are and realize that there is a God that loves you with an incredible love, that he's willing to spare his own reputation to bring you back home. And realize that regardless of what's going on around you, regardless of how you think you may not measure up, understand that there's a God that loves you with an incredible love. Just realize that. The fancy church word we've used before, maybe you've heard, is repent, but that simply means to change your mind and realize that I'm going home. The second word is return. Just return. No doubt that son, when he had his speech all memorized, there was a point where he said, I'm sure in his own mind, do you really want to do this? And he decided, and it just began with one step. And that's what it means. If you'll take that one step, you'll understand that there's a God who's sitting on the porch looking for you. And he wants to come after you. He wants to embrace you. He wants to love you because of his love and his compassion. He wants to hold you, and he wants to kiss you. And Jesus ended the story with just these 4 words, so the party began. And that's one of the reasons when we baptize that we try to make it a party. We clap and we holler because there are people there that are recognizing, I'm reconnecting. I'm connecting with the Father. I'm connecting with him. I want that relationship. And God wants you to realize that so that the party can begin. Would you pray with me? God, thank you. Thank you that when the lies do speak louder than the truth, that you're there to say, I love you with an incredible and everlasting love that goes beyond any kind of love we can figure out that's around us. But you love us with that kind of love that regardless of where we've been or how far we've gone, that you're going to run and you're going to grab us and you're going to embrace us. You're going to kiss us and you're going to love us and say that you're my son, you're my daughter. So, Father, I just pray for the people that are in this room. And maybe there's someone here that doesn't experience that has never really felt that love and that forgiveness, that they'll just realize it and they'll just return home. And God, that they would experience an incredible love. And because you love them, we can love them too. And God, because you love people, we can love people regardless of whether they're like us or not like us. So help us to do that this week as we go out and as we just live life. We ask this in Christ's name. Amen. Hey guys, thank you so much for coming. Don't forget, Justin will be back next week. And episode 2, will Johnny get out of the shed? We need to come see it. Thank you. You guys have a great week.